Good morning and happy Monday, which is also Veterans Day. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. My computer is acting really funny today, so if the stream crashes, I apologize. Just getting that out of the way immediately. I'll go live again if it does. I'll just have to reset. Let's see who's here in the chat, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Tonto Bong Ronto, what's up, dude? We got Mustard Mountain Mining, good to see you. Kyle Rosa, Mr. 56 in the house, good to see you. Steven Cicero, I'm like so nervous I'm gonna crash right now. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Let's see. Leo Lustig, good to see you. Backwards Miner, good morning. Chris Fox, Leo Lustig, Andrew Masad, good morning, sir. All Set Silver Days, good morning. Daddy Chill, good to see you, buddy. Kyle Rosa, everybody else that may have missed, I apologize. Let's get into it. Hopefully we stay up during this. But Bitcoin 82,388 bucks. Man, Bitcoin is just smashing all-time highs. Perfect. Absolutely insane. All right, looking over here, we got Ethereum at 3183, Solana 217 bucks, Dogecoin off the charts lately, almost 30 cents. I think it hit 30 cents actually. I think it did. 29 cents as of right now at 1856 up on the day. We got Caspa over here at 15.3. Let's see, Near Protocol is up to $5.33, up 11.24% on the day. We got Litecoin at 76.96, looking pretty good. ADA's at 60 cents. Hadouken to ADA, doing real good. We got XRP at 58 cents. Shocking, that one's moving. We got BNB $623. Sui is looking pretty good today too, $3.18, up 5% on the day or so. ETC is at almost 23 bucks. It's down a little bit today. I think it was over $23 actually. Let's see, Vet over here, I don't even know what this is, but it's up 5% today if anybody cares. 2 cents, 2.5, a little over 2.5. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Man, I'm telling you, this computer is killing me today. I don't know what's going on. I think I already said Solana, but 216 bucks. Solana's killing it. Absolutely killing it. Let's see. Vet for Veterans Day. There you go. Oh, it's VeChain. That's what it is. You're right. It's VeChain. That's right. I always forget that ticker. Crow, 15 cents over here, up 27% on the day. We got Whiff up 21.24% on the day, $3.06. Render is up to $6.17, up 12% on the day. Nice. We got BitTensor up to 582 bucks, up 11% on the day, a little over 11%. Nice. Everything looks really, really good, even though it's a little bit of red today. Man, my computer is freaking scaring me. I feel like it's gonna crash. It's most definitely gonna crash. I gotta figure out what the hell's going on. Hold on, give me a second. I gotta check this thing. This is not healthy. Give me 1 second. Something's going on. My music's glitching. Something is happening. You know what? I'm gonna kill my Chrome real quick, and I'm gonna open it back up. So give me a second. It's usually Chrome that messes with shit. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Sorry, people. Didn't mean to do this, but at least you can look at the good, healthy market. It's kind of nice, right? Get back into my YouTube studio so get the chat back up. Check out Crypto Bubbles while we do this. Should still be live. Looking pretty good over here. Looks like the biggest earner on the day is Crow, actually. That's the crypto.com token, if I'm not mistaken. Over here, 29% up on the day, 15 cents, almost 16 cents. Nice. Yeah, this shit's lagging hard today. Crazy. Veterans Day messing me all up. What's going on? What's going on here? All right, well, this chat pops back up. I think we are still glitchy. I don't know what's going on. Strange. All right, anyways, we're just gonna roll with it until it until the wheels fall off, I guess. All right, Whiff 21% up today, almost 22%. Dogecoin again, 18% on the day. Let's see, what's the biggest loser today? Looks like Nero. Just Nero coin, 10.6% down. I think this is a looks like a Dogecoin meme of some sort. Ranked 82nd place at a $1 billion market cap. Crazy. All right, flashbang over here. Let's see. We got the fear and greed index at a 76, looking pretty greedy, but it's real close to 75, so I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right. It's nice. At least it's not in like the 80s or the 90s. That could be real bad. Yesterday it was at a 78, which is kind of getting to that point where I mean, it's still gonna probably climb from there, but this is how bull runs are, man. It's gonna climb in this above the 75 mark for a little while, but again, you guys need to be cautious with some of these coins. All right, CoinGecko over here. Let's check out top 10 coins by coin market cap again over on CoinGecko. We got Bitcoin at a 1.6 trillion dollar market cap. A duke into that. Ethereum, Tether, Solana, BNB, Dogecoin, USDC, XRP, Lotto staked Ether, and Cardano. Cardano is back in 10th place at a 21.4 billion dollar market cap. Shiba, look at this. Shiba's in 11th place. What the hell? I'll have to check my Shiba in a little bit. That's amazing. $15 billion market cap. It flipped Tron and Toncoin. Damn, wrapped ETH. What the hell's wrapped? Wrapped ST ETH. What is that? Weird. I've never noticed the ST there. Strange. $13 billion market cap on that one, but man, I can't believe Shiba flipped Tron. That's wild. That's wild. Definitely wild. All right, let's see. Scrolling down, Sui is doing pretty good. 18th place. Looking at a $9 billion market cap at $3. Chainlink, $14. $8 billion market cap. There's still coins you guys can make plenty of money on. I think Cardano is still going to do fairly well. I took some profits just in case it does go down, because I was looking at the chart the other day and I was noticing that Cardano typically doesn't have that many green days in a row, and when it does, it has a crazy pullback, and I think it's probably due for a pullback. But there is news of them working with, I don't know, the government and shit, so who knows what's gonna happen with Cardano. But like, look at this, and I really hope this shit doesn't crash. This is getting scary. All right, look at this. Look at this boner candle the Cardano's had. This is the daily, but like, Cardano doesn't have that many days in a row, so I took profits around this area. Even if it goes up a little bit, I have a feeling it's gonna come back down when usually around Black Friday, right, is like we see some sort of pullback, and then after that, week later or so, we see some pick back up. It's like people sell to get like Christmas gifts or traveling or whatever the hell they're doing. Usually that's what happens, but I don't know. Cardano, I think it's still going to do fantastic. It's probably going to get, you know, up there close to its all-time high at some point, but who knows when. Obviously during alt season, typically after Bitcoin breaks all-time high and goes fucking nuts. But yeah, if you see what I'm saying, like, this is that just doesn't happen for Cardano often. Even if we let's see, can I go to the weekly? I get, you know what, I guess way back here in 2021, it did do a crazy climb up, right, all at once. But I don't know, we're still kind of breaking into the money flow here, so I don't see it happening that crazy. But I don't know, we're right at that point right now. That's just my opinion. You guys do what you want. I don't care. I'm not a trader. Don't take financial advice from people on YouTube. That'd be your first mistake. All right, moving on to the mining segment. Other things. Sorry, I'm not reading the chat if anybody's talking to me. I apologize. Holy shit, do I see $40 right there for an L9? Let me get the chat back up. God damn. All right, Bitmain, Antminer, L9. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff so we can come back and check it out at a later date. Holy shit. $40. $41.80 a day on the 17 gigahash L7. I mean, sorry, the L9. I don't think the L9 17 gigahash is even out yet, to be honest. I don't think it's being sold yet. It might be somewhere, but man, 3,260 watts. That's amazing. Like making $41 a day. That's nuts. The Volkminer D1's in second place at 41.01. I would never buy this unit, please, guys. This is such a knockoff and so inefficient. It's awful. I wouldn't buy that, but it's still profitable. L9 16 gigahash unit over here making $39.34 a day. That's crazy. That's insane. DG1 plus 14 gigahash unit over here making $32.07. Look at that. Nice. We got the AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit making $31.97 a day. What is a lithium looking like today? Let's see. I think my computer kind of is doing better. You guys see me glitching and stuff, let me know. It's like hard for me to look at my own camera and pay attention to all this stuff. All right, $1.32. 24 hours been going down pretty much. But Ron McKay, thank you, buddy. He said the shed is tight. It is. I appreciate it. It looks good. Dude, it's been done for like a week and a half. I've been dead. I literally died 3 days last week. I couldn't get out of bed. It was awful. Violently sick. My kids brought home the AIDS from school. I don't know what happened, but I got sick and it was bad. And then they all got sick and it was even worse. So that's what happened there. DJ Mines, what's up, dude? Everyone rich. Oh, there it is. Glitch. Perfect. Tried Hadouken. Can't even Hadouken. I don't know what's going on my computer. So if I crash, if anybody's just joining, I apologize. But Elythium over here is looking good. $1.32 as of right now. Let's see. Let's just scroll down here. I want to see. Wow. Where's my L7? Let's see. L7, my 9050 over here down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you guys are interested in hosting. Links in the description. This thing is making what? Is that? I need to zoom this out because it's just too much. It's too close. Man, that thing's making $18.59 a day. Hell yeah. Perfect. Hell yeah. No, not spyware. Yeah, spyware. I don't do anything on this computer. It's all right. They can spy on me all they want. Good luck getting in. I got ubiquity, boys. Let's see. Camera glitching like a bitch today. Yeah, dude, Mike, I don't know what's up with my computer. The whole thing's glitching. We're gonna have to see if it crashes. If it crashes, I'll just come back, but is what it is today. I don't care. Listen, it's a Monday, all right? What do you want? It's a Monday. But dude, look at this 9050 L7. Make it almost $19 a day. $18.59. That's crazy. Crazy. Man, I really wish I freaking just bought another L7. All right, you know what, Steven Cicero, this is 10 cents per kilowatt hour, by the way. He was telling me yesterday, last 19K, profitable again. What? Making 97 cents a day. Perfect. I gotta swap this. I gotta get off Bitcoin Cash. I've been mining Bitcoin Cash for 3 months. Solo mining, have not hit a block. Not hit a block. 3 months will be in 8 days. You know what? I'll probably give it 8 more days. I'll give it 8 more days and then we'll call it. Then we'll call it. And then I'll make a video why solo mining at a hosting facility sucks. Bitcoin Cash sucks ass. That's what I'll do. Change it now, dude. It's $1. It's not. I ain't making much. It's not. I'm not worried about $8. But just in general, crazy, dude. My music's even glitching. This is gonna be interesting when we start playing videos. Any miners you guys want to look at, let me know. Let's look at this mini Doge 3 plus 810 mega hashes, $1.20 a day. I gotta get this thing on. This is in my solar trailer. You guys didn't know, shout out to Gold Shell for sending this over, but they still always want way too much money for it. How much are they asking for it now, Gold Shell? Oh, is it goldshell.com? I think so. Dude, even my typing is glitching. What the fuck is going on with my computer? Camera's glitching. Everything's glitching. God. Cisco's ass, bro. What are you saying? Snake, you're too much of a conspiracy theorist for me. Products, miners, let's see. Box series. They still want. That's just the. That's not the plus. Plus. Is it? Wait, is it the plus? No, it's not. Oh, it's right here. $649. Go on for that thing. No. How much is it making a day? $1? No. No. That's like a 2-year payback. Hell no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's at a 10 cent per kilowatt hour. No. I think it needs to be like $300. That needs to be like $300. All right, GPUs. Check out GPUs today. Let's see. Listen, if the videos start glitching when we're watching videos, I'm just gonna kill the stream and I'll restart it. Network bits. Listen, I like ubiquity. You network nerds can fight over it, but no hard feelings. All right, GPUs over here. Aleo seems to be top of the charts. What we got? Let's see, Aleo. What's Aleo at today? Oh, someone was saying this is a hold for the bull run, and
stop the cap.
That's what I call. I would sell this immediately every single day. like everybody's doing for the past month at least. But $1.36 is down 6% today. I don't know what this project's all about. I don't know what the ins and outs are on it. It's $6.15. Actually, that wasn't the all-time high, was it? $6.72 was the all-time high. So yeah, we're right around that area, right? Yeah, it came out in September. So interesting. I don't know. Oh, why? Dude, this fucking computer right now is killing me. All right. Anyways, I'm done with the mining stuff. Let's just get into the videos and see what happens, because this is a mess. This whole thing's a mess. I don't know what's happening. All right, the SEC chair needs to change, and Blockworks co-founder says this is a day ago on Yahoo Finance. I tried to get things kind of in, I guess, time frame of when they came out, but this is after that one. Obviously, this is about an hour ago over here on Fox Business, but we're gonna start with Yahoo Finance and go from there. Let's do it.
Well, Bitcoin surging today after Donald Trump wins the presidential election. The cryptocurrency briefly topping $75,000. Here with me now, we've got Jason Yanowitz, who is the Blockworks co-founder. Jason, thanks for joining us in studio.
Brad, good to be here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this. What ultimately does a Trump win and victory mean for the industry?
I think there's a couple ways to look at that. There's looking at it from the builder perspective of folks in the industry, and then there's looking at it from the way of investments. So from an investor perspective, I mean, the market has responded well, right? Bitcoin shot up 7%. Bitcoin hit an all-time high overnight last night. Coinbase is up 20%. So the investors are clearly responding pretty well to this news. I think almost the more important thing, and zooming out on a longer term time horizon, the most important thing that the industry has been requesting from founders like myself inside of the industry is more clear regulations and more clear guidance on how to actually build a crypto company in the United States. And that's, I think, the thing that I'm the most optimistic about.
Do you think that the SEC chair needs to change then for that to happen?
I think the SEC chair definitely needs to change.
And so who are the top candidates? Who are the top profiles that should even be floated around with regard to that if we were to see that come to fruition during a Trump presidency?
Yeah, I think it's less important about the specific SEC chair and more about the things that they will do. So if you talk to founders in the industry, whether they're running different exchanges, custodians, layer ones, whatever it might be, the most important things are clear regulation of stablecoins, clear regulation of the exchanges and custodians. Folks want to bring Bitcoin mining back into the United States. It's been pushed overseas into places like the Middle East. And we need clear regulation around how to actually launch and grow a token-related business in the United States.
What type of
Thanks, Mr. Dan R. Thanks for being a member for 18 months, dude. I appreciate you. Perfect. You're awesome.
Consumer protections should that also entail as well? If we were to see not even just holding of crypto as an asset, but also even utilization of crypto even more so as a form of currency as well?
I think, well, getting away from the cryptocurrency as a currency, because we do have stablecoins and we can touch on that, but I think the thing that has become apparent is that crypto used to become this thing that maybe we had to protect against insane volatility. And even if you thought about the crypto voter or the crypto holder, maybe it was mostly males, young males who are perpetually online. Now what's clear from this election is that the crypto voter is all Americans, right? There are about 55 million Americans who hold crypto. And the thing that's clear from this election is that they showed up, and they showed up They spoke loudly. We elected over 220 pro-crypto candidates to both the House and the Senate. So going back to your question around what protections there should be, I think it's similar to, I mean, what does it look like to hold equities and stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities? It's very similar because it's clear that crypto is now one of the biggest asset classes in the United States.
Give us the pulse check of other crypto founders right now. I mean, I don't know if there's a group chat that you guys have or a text thread or whatnot, or maybe it's just IG DMs or something like that. But what are you hearing from other founders right now, and specifically in how they look to scale up their businesses?
So the worst thing that happened in the last couple of years for crypto founders is after FTX blew up, I think the SEC and the regulators mistook FTX for the broader crypto industry and ecosystem. So they came down really hard in 2022 and 2023 and 2024 earlier this year on the founders specifically. And what that actually did is it pushed the founders overseas. So if you look at a lot of the founders in the industry, they moved to places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Singapore. So if I'm the regulators, I'm the SEC, the CFTC, this new administration, the House, the Senate, the thing that I probably care about the most is trying to say, hey, look, there are two of the biggest industries in the world right now, AI and crypto. AI is clearly being grown in the United States with Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon. How can we make sure that crypto is the same thing? Don't push it overseas, bring it back to the United States.
And just lastly, while we have you here, I mean, as we're hearing so many of the bullish calls, not even just going into year end, but even looking into 2025 around crypto. You know, a day like this, of course, we're looking for a larger trend that would push us to some of the lofty valuations or lofty calls for $100,000 a coin. Where do you see this ultimately and getting to with some of the momentum that we have seen prior election and now, of course, another infusion of momentum post-election?
Really good point. I think this election actually matters a lot less than people think that it does for the digital asset industry. If you zoom out and look at it from a macroeconomic perspective, the US has $36 trillion in debt. We're growing at about $1 trillion in debt every 100 days. So the way that you get out of that is you inflate your way out of that. And so the things that look really exciting to an investor today are Bitcoin, it's gold, it's commodities, it's the NASDAQ. It's definitely not fixed income. So I think when you zoom out and look at it from a macro perspective, it's a good time to get excited about risk assets and specifically hard commodities and things with fixed supplies.
Jason, thanks for the perspective here on the day. We're going to continue.
Interesting. All right. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Sorry if this stream glitches or crashes. I apologize. My computer is being very, very weird today. So anyways, move on. Fox Business. This was about an hour ago. Sorry, it's 2 hours ago now at this point. You couldn't smack the smile off my face. Let's see what this says. Small business owner reacts to Trump victory. Don't know what this is about.
We are on the verge of a golden age in the economy for the next 4 years where we can have a growth agenda where we deregulate, get energy prices down, and get interest rates down, and that will drive growth like we have not seen for years.
Investors are hoping for another strong week on Wall Street following last week's post-election surge that saw the Dow and S&P 500 put in its best weekly performance all year. Now, small business owners are looking forward to the potential impact of the incoming Trump administration and a Republican economic agenda in Congress. For more on what Main Street is expecting, let's bring in the Marks Group PC CPA Gene Marks and Rockin' Cigar Bar and Grill owner Frank Ritchie Jr. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
So from the Fox News voter analysis, opinions about the nation's economy, condition of the nation's economy, 7% saying excellent, 30% good, 40% not so good, 24% poor. What do you make of that, Frank?
Nice shirt with the Rockets.
Well, I'll be honest with you. On Wednesday morning, you couldn't smack the smile off my face. We were very excited about what's about to happen to this country. We understand that the no tax on tips is going to be huge for our employees that are here, and we're really looking forward to the next 4 years.
Did inflation decide the election, Gene?
Yeah, inflation was a big part of it. I think what a lot of people missed, Mike, when they were looking and saying that inflation was coming down. Yeah, it's been coming down, but most of my clients, most of the typical small businesses, I think Frank would also agree, I mean, dealing with a huge cost increase just over the past 3 to 4 years. So they've been trying to grapple with those cost increase. Margins are very, very tight in many businesses like food service and restaurant industry. It makes things really tough. It's tough to hear from the politicians that inflation is under control and everything is okay when you're writing the checks and you're like, no, our costs are much higher. Small businesses, they notice that.
President-elect Trump is talking about using tariffs strategically to try to level the playing field with some of our foreign adversaries. Let's play the back and forth on that.
I'm a little nervous of the markets right now, not because of President Trump, but some of the things he's talking about, like tariffs and where he is on some of his areas of immigration, that's inflationary. So it'll be actually interesting to see where the markets go.
I think the tariffs have been
He uses it as a tool. It's a tool just to make people do what he wants them to do, or countries do what he wants them to do, right? Like when he stopped the border wall with like 10 miles left in Mexico, he threatened the Mexican government with crazy tariffs. So if they didn't secure their border, he was going to hit them with a shit ton of tariffs where they'd be screwed. So they increased their security at the border to, help stop that issue. It's literally just a tactic. That's my opinion. I don't think it's going to be crazy.
Characterized. They're a one-time price increase, and nobody knows how to use these tariffs like President Trump, both for revenue and negotiating.
Frank, what do you make of this?
Negotiating.
Well, tariffs are a tool, and I think President Trump is going to use them correctly. I don't think he's going to put tariffs on things that are already things that we don't make anymore. For example, a television or all the parts that go inside of cars.
Exactly.
What he wants to do is he wants to make sure that Ford doesn't move, but the parts that go inside the Ford that are assembled in this country, they need to stay where they're at, and I think that's going to be fine. But I do believe that Ford needs to stay here, and if they decide to move or Chevrolet decides to move, there will be massive tariffs, so much so that it will be too painful for them to leave, and that's very important for the American worker.
Gene, what's your take on it?
Yeah, my best story I could tell is just 2 weeks ago, I was speaking to an association of furniture manufacturers. And I got to tell you, these people are getting crushed by China and other countries that are undercutting pricing and dumping their materials on the markets way below where these guys can compete. And we all know that a lot of that stuff is being subsidized by the Chinese government and other governments. So I can tell you, there was a room full of people, probably 400 people there, that were cheering on President Trump's decision to increase tariffs, because I think they strongly believe it will level the playing field for them and protect jobs.
Gene Marks, Frank Ritchie.
Oh, yeah. A duke into these guys. All right, let's see. Again, if my stream crashes, I apologize. I think we're going to be all right, but who knows? This computer is acting weird today. All right, this is about 9 hours ago. Media reckoning coming after the election. This is something that's going to be very interesting in the next couple years, right? Like, we've seen so much bullshit and lies and just manipulation in the media. People aren't going to trust it anymore. Like, people are going to go to places like, YouTube, and I mean, YouTube's still kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna stop there just because we're on it. But just in general, like, there is things that are hidden. And like, for example, when Trump was on Joe Rogan, like, dude, it wasn't even trending on YouTube. Like, you couldn't even find it. You had to go to his channel to actually find it. It wasn't like, and it had like millions and millions of views. It was just insane. But people are going to go to places like X and like watch Joe Rogan's show and things like that to get the real story of certain things from now on. It's just going to be very interesting to see where media ends up going. But let's see what they got to say over here on Fox Business.
Are you smiling, Joe? You should be. This is Joe Concha, by the way. He's on the right-hand side of the screen. Infighting on The View. My goodness me. Have at it, Joe.
Oh, delicious is the only word that I can really apply to this, Stu. You asked before the break, will the media ever change? And as we just saw from Sonny Hostin, for the most part, it looks like no, and I think it's only going to get worse, Stu. I mean, journalists now believe their role are to be activists and an extension of the Democratic Party. And the ecosystem of our political media probably explains that, because nationally, political media is basically based in two cities, New York and Washington. And as long as these so-called journalists stay in those bubbles and they don't get out and talk to people in places like central Pennsylvania, northern Michigan, western Wisconsin, go visit a border town in Texas or New Mexico or Arizona.
Hold on. Is that a headline? Hostin blames misogyny for Harris loss. What? Oh my God. Why is that? Like, see, this is half the shit. Just stupid shit. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with her being a fucking moron? I'm sorry.
Arizona. Until they do things like that, actually do the work and actually try to talk to the people they're supposed to serve, viewers and readers, they're never going to understand that voters don't see things simply through the prism of race or sexual orientation or gender. It's really that simple. Get out of the bubble, or it's going to be the same stuff over and over again.
Well, here's another example. Joseph he's an ESPN host, Stephen A. Smith, I'm sorry. He ripped into the media for how they handled the election coverage. Watch this.
I'm holding out hope that it can be resuscitated. What was done was inexcusable because it was favoritism in the media, and it had no place in it for a presidential election. You got to call balls and strikes, and that's not what people on both sides are doing, but especially the left over the last couple of days.
But you know what, Joe? Maybe the media has to change because the left media is losing its audience, left, right, and center.
Oh, Stu, I think in 2025, when we're in a non-election year, and after the sugar high from this election goes away, you're going to see audience drops on other cable news networks, for example, of probably anywhere around 60 to 70%. Because when you just have echo chambers talking about racism and misogyny being the reason why Donald Trump won, well, gee, was it Democratic voters? They rejected Kamala Harris in 2019, right? Were they racist, and were they also pushing misogyny as well, Democratic voters?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because she ran for president, did she not? And she lost in the preliminary. Is that what they call it? But she didn't even run this time. She's got it handed to her. Like, there's no respect in that.
And how exactly did Hillary Clinton win the popular vote by millions if there's all this misogyny in this country? So that's the bottom line, Stu. You're going to see a reckoning in media because many people are going to really be angry that they were lied to for all these months about Republicans and even about the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden campaigns as well. And they're just going to turn it off. And when they turn it off, that's going to result in job losses, consolidation, you name it. We'll revisit this a year from now and you'll be like, oh, yeah, that did happen. Wow.
I think you're right, Joe.
You don't want to see it happen, but it will.
I think it will. Joe.
It's going to be very interesting. All right, just in, MicroStrategy buys another 27,200 Bitcoin, $2 billion. Damn, Dan R., thank you very much for that. Crypto Frank said, Chump, it's an age change. My grandfather got his news from the paper, my parents from the TV, then me from social media and the internet. Our kids will be getting it from hopefully an uncentralized source. Yeah, it's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. Snake, I'm not reading that out loud. All right, Sunday morning futures. What's this? This is with that Maria lady over here. U.S. is on the verge of economics golden age. Executive says this is about 14 hours ago. Let's see what they got to say over here on Fox News Channel. Let's do it.
Welcome back. President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to get right to work when he returns to the White House on January 20th. With the economy and immigration his two top priorities, Trump is expected to issue executive orders to secure the border and tap into America's energy capacity to lower oil prices, spark economic growth, and rein in inflation that has seen the cost of basic essentials skyrocket under the Biden-Harris administration.
Dude, the next day after he won that election, I don't know if it was the next day, maybe it was the day after, but he made a video stating all of the shit he's going to do as soon as he gets into office, which was fucking epic. If you guys didn't see it, go to X and see it on Elon Musk tweeted it.
Enacting mass deportation to remove the millions of people illegally living in America. Joining me now are former acting ICE director Tom Homan and Key Square Capital Management CEO and founder Scott Besson. Gentlemen, great to have you both with us. We so appreciate the both of you. We are expecting you both to have a role in the upcoming Trump administration next year. So, Tom Homan, let me kick it off with you. What are the plans for deportation? You heard what President Trump told me in that interview a couple of months ago. He says it's got to be done. How do you round up 10 million people and deport them?
Well, look, I agree with the president's plan on this. And the same plan he had during his first administration, you concentrate on the public safety threats and the national security threats first, because they're the worst of the worst. So it's going to be the worst first. That's how it has to be done. And we know a record number of people on the terrorist watch list have crossed this border. We know a record number of terrorists have been released in this country. We've already arrested some planning attacks. So look, the president is dead on when he says criminal threats, national security threats are going to be prioritized, and that's the way it's going to be.
Scott Besson, the Wall Street Journal this morning is writing about the cost of this deportation, and it's going to be hefty. So you've got the cost of rounding up people who may have committed crimes for deportation at a time that President Trump wants to have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. How will we afford all of this?
Well, Maria, first of all, let's talk about the human cost. We have 100,000 fentanyl deaths a year because of the porous border. We have the increased crime. We have the underlying fear that the American people have. You can't put a price on that. But I'll tell you, too, that what we are going to do here, Donald Trump has staged the biggest political comeback in history. And I think that we are on the verge of a golden age in the economy for the next 4 years, where we can have a growth agenda, where we deregulate, get energy prices down, and get interest rates down, and that will drive growth like we have not seen for years. And the cost of this deportation will be a rounding error, but I keep going back to the human cost, and you can't put a price on that.
Well, one of the things that he has said he wants to do is re-implement his Remain in Mexico policy. Tom, tell me about that. That requires asylum seekers to stay in Mexico while their cases are processed. Your thoughts on how...
Dude, her voice kills me. Who listens to her every day? Her voice is so loud. It's like going through my eardrums.
important that will be. And again, same question for you, the cost of deportation.
Well, first of all, cost of deportation, this President Trump's plan is going to be a cost savings for American people, because this administration is paying for free airline tickets to all the country, free hotel rooms at $500 a night, free education, free medical care, and that's in perpetuity. What President Trump's plan is going to do is, over time, is going to save the taxpayers money and put an end to this foolishness. They're paying $500 a night for a hotel room in New York City. Meanwhile, there's empty ice beds at $127 a night. So President Trump's plan is going to save taxpayers money over time. And as far as the Remain in Mexico program, look, I worked for 6 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. Every president I worked for took steps to try to secure the border. No one did more than President Trump. Okay, his success was unprecedented. And when he came up with the Remain in Mexico program, that was an outstanding idea, because that stopped people from coming. People are going to still claim asylum, but they're going to wait in Mexico. But once the word got out that they weren't going to be released, they stopped coming. When they stopped coming, women aren't being raped by the cartels. Children aren't drowning in the river. The cartels aren't making money. So President Trump's policy to Remain in Mexico, not only a game changer, moved it to an historic low on illegal immigration, it saved thousands of lives.
Well, I mean, look, practically...
Real quick, I just want to clear this whole thing up, deportation, right? So what Trump stands for is, when they come over, if they want to apply to be a citizen, that's fine. You can come over and apply to be a citizen, but you need to go the F home for those 8 to 12 years or whatever it takes for you to be approved to become a citizen. You're not going to stay in our country and take our tax dollars and all this bullshit, free housing and yada yada, while you're waiting for that process to be done. No, come over, sign the papers, and go home. As of right now, they can come over here, try to be a U.S. citizen and stay here as long as they want until they become a citizen. What is the point of having to sign up for that if you're just going to come and stay anyways? I don't understand it. So I'm pretty positive that's how he views the entire thing with this whole deportation, get out thing.
Speaking, who's going to do it? Are you envisioning military troops throughout the country rounding people up? Tell me how it's going to be done in a practical sense.
First of all, I want to make one thing clear. I read a piece this morning, I think Daily Caller, somebody said, Tom Homan says the military is going to go out rounding up and arresting illegal aliens. Never said that. Never said that my entire life over my career.
Crazy.
So that was a ridiculous thing I just read in the paper this morning. It's going to be a well-targeted, planned operation conducted, led by the men of ICE. The men and women of ICE do this daily. They're good at it. They're all got Fourth Amendment training. They know they can and cannot do illegally. And it's a well-targeted. When we go out there, we're going to know who we're looking for. We most likely know where they're going to be, and this will be done in a humane manner. I keep reading these stories about concentration camps. ICE has the highest detention standards in the industry. And so these people will be well taken care of. It will be a humane operation, but it's a necessary mass deportation operation.
Scott Bessent, are tariffs going to pay for this partly? How worried are you about this uproar over strategic tariffs, is how President Trump has stated it?
Well, Maria, first of all, to go back to Tom's point, I think in a Trump 2.0, you are going to see an all-of-government coordination like you have never seen before. Everyone in the administration is going to be aligned, just as you saw with Senator Rick Scott. So, I think that there will be a lot of voluntary deportations. I've been working on a plan for financial deportation that could restrict the flow of funds in terms of remittances. And so I think this is going to be an all-government effort. In terms of the tariffs, I think the tariffs have been mischaracterized. They're a one-time price increase, and nobody knows how to use these tariffs like President Trump, both for revenue and negotiating.
Facts. Negotiating, keyword there. All right, moving on. Let's see. The big money show. Look at this. Economist reveals that the key driver behind people voting for Trump again. Let's see what they got to say over here. This is 18 hours ago. Let's do it.
If you thought rate cuts would give you some relief in the housing market, think again. The median home sales price nearing all-time highs, just about $9,000 away from that, and mortgage rates jumping back up to almost 6.8%. Joining us now is E.J. Antoni, Heritage Foundation public finance economist. Talk to me about how desperate people are for affordability. All of that comes, a lot of that, within the housing market. But you,
for the record, this guy enjoys gold over Bitcoin. He's one of them.
Don't think it's going to get solved anytime soon. Why?
Well, Taylor, people are absolutely desperate. You're 100% right there. And if we look at exit polling data, for example, we can see that the lack of home ownership affordability was a key driver behind people voting for President Trump again. And in fact, we have a lot of states where not a single major metro area within that entire state has affordable homes for people on median household income. So it has definitely been a huge problem. But now the issue is that interest rates and home prices have essentially recoupled. In other words, as interest rates go down, home prices go back up. And the reason for that is because it's cheaper for people to borrow, so they can borrow more, and now they have more money to further bid up the price of homes. For a while there, that relationship was broken, but that was simply a function of people getting incredibly low interest rate mortgages and then being locked into those mortgages, what we call golden handcuffs.
EJ, speaking of interest rates, the Fed cut 25 basis points yesterday and also hinted at the fact that we've got this stubborn inflation embedded out there in pricing. Also talking about this notion, that the 2% target remains on track. So we still have work to do. Do they cut again in December? Do they wait to see what happens? How does this play out?
Jackie, I think they are going to cut again. And the reason for that actually has nothing to do with inflation. It also has nothing to do with the labor market, by the way. I know they talk a lot about their dual mandate and how they're trying to target a certain level of inflation. They're trying to target full employment, whatever that means. No one's ever been able to define it. But whatever the case, I think the Fed is increasingly worried about ticking time bombs within financial markets, within the financial system. Banks are still sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrealized losses because they got on the wrong side of the interest rate trade and have never been able to get out from under that. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Powell kept promising everybody for months that they weren't going to raise interest rates for years, and then he proceeded to hike rates at the fastest pace in 40 years. And let's not forget the Bank Term Funding Program still has about $50 billion in outstanding loans that are going to come due in March. Again, I think a lot of this has to do with the Fed trying to rescue financials.
All right, let's talk about the Fed rescuing consumers as well. We talk about inflation all the time. EJ, I want to throw a word out to you because I think it's what a lot of people would actually like to see, and that is deflation. We want to see prices come down. But my question for you is that a reasonable expectation in this world? Could we actually see deflation without the recession that seems to always come along with it?
As of right now, somebody asked what the interest rate was. November 11th, 2024, the national average interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.95% and 6.26% for a 15-year fixed mortgage. That's crazy. That's 3 times higher than what I have.
Ryan, in a strictly academic sense, I think the answer there is no. I say academic because deflation is technically a monetary phenomenon. It's when the Fed tightens credit and reduces the money supply so violently that you have fewer dollars relative to the size of the economy, and that's where you get those violent contractions in credit and also the recession that follows. However, if you can reduce the price of a ubiquitous input in the economy like energy, which is a key thing that President Trump wants to do over the next 4 years, you can then bring down prices throughout the economy, and I'm very, very happy to see that that's one of the goals of the incoming administration.
I just
put in the chat what your mortgage rate is right now. Like what is your interest rate on wherever you're at?
love the word ubiquitous input. Can we use that on this show more often? And
what's the interest rate and what year did you buy it? I guess that's probably a good idea.
EJ, smile. And that's one of my main goals in life. Well done, EJ. I love it.
Quickly, if asked to serve in the next administration, would you?
Oh.
That's entirely up to the president.
EJ Antoni.
Guy's a boob. All right, moving on. Let's see. What's Trump's plan to slash EV tax credit mean for Tesla, dude? Friggin' Tesla. Is Tesla still going up? Actually, what's Tesla's price today? I'm gonna look that up in a second. Let's do it.
All right, man, this has been an incredible week for Tesla. With today's gains, we are up about 28% or so on the week. Which
hold on. When was this? When was this? 22 hours ago. The stock market's not open, so or it's gonna be open right soon. 22 hours ago, so I guess it's around the same price, I assume. I'll double check.
Points with really what the stock has done on the year. Everything's been happening this past week. It's $1 trillion market cap company right now, and Elon Musk this week alone, I might be off by $1 billion or $2 billion, but he's worth $30 billion more than he was last week at this time, so close to $300 billion. By far the richest human being on the planet. Lauren Fix is following the company very closely, especially with what they're doing right now to sort of widen this appeal. That Cybertruck, it looks god awful ugly to me, Lauren, when I see this thing. But the fact of the matter is, they're trying to make it more appealing and affordable to would-be buyers. Lauren, by the way, is the founder of Car Coach. She knows this stuff inside and out. So what's going on with this? Is it a lease program for the Cybertruck?
Right, there's a new lease program, and that starts with the lower-end vehicles. It starts at $79,000. It's a 3-year lease. You can do a 2-year if you want, of course, and it's $999. And so there's also obviously a signing-in bonus, and at the end of the lease, there'll be a payment. But that's a lower price. And remember, they're still the #1 pickup truck in the electric car market. So they outsell the Rivian R1T as well as a Ford F-150 Lightning truck. And people that like the Tesla brand are very loyal to it. People that own them are just super excited about it. And the thing is, now that they seem to have ramped up production, you can get one pretty quickly. You could place your order online because there's no real dealer network, and you can have them by the end of November, which is either they're making just the right amount, which is smart, or maybe sales are slightly off, and that's why there's a discount or a deal going, shall we say.
You know, Lauren, I was curious. Donald Trump wants to end these subsidies, free checks for those who buy EVs that you would think hurt, a car maker like Tesla. But maybe Elon Musk and Tesla are beyond that now. What do you think?
I think Tesla's beyond it. They've definitely blazed the trail. I've pushed back a lot on the brand. I don't think the build quality is that of like a Hyundai for sure, where there's a definite difference. But people that like the brand love the brand. And I think even without the $7,500 tax credit, people buy them. And they sell used Teslas as well. So you can see that, he really doesn't really need the $7,500 tax credit. And the truth is, I'd rather see the free market reign, let the consumer buy what they want and not be forced into a particular brand. And we know for a fact that Elon Musk will succeed no matter what. But President Trump has said, we're going to remove the mandate. Let people decide. Do you want gas? Do you want hybrid? Do you want hybrid plug-in? Or do you want electric? You can have whatever works for you.
Well, Lauren, thank you so much. Have a great week.
All right, cool. They're removing the mandate on. Sorry, what did you say? What state? I wasn't listening to that, to be honest. All right, I know that's like California. I think they're trying to push that. Let's see. Final humiliation. California suffers major blow to soft on crime prosecutors. Let's see. This is about, when was this? Does it say when this was? I don't know. This was a while ago. Yesterday, probably. Let's do it.
Welcome back. Cracking down on crime in California and a major blow to soft on crime prosecutors across that state. California voters said yes overwhelmingly to Prop 36. It's a measure that will enact harsher penalties for retail theft, property crime, and drug offenses. A major shift in the Golden State. Fox News contributor Steve Hilton joins us now. Steve, you're saying this is a victory for common sense. And I'll just add, of course, Kamala Harris told us she wouldn't tell us which way she was voting on Prop 36.
I mean, that was the final humiliation, really, in her campaign, when she couldn't be straight with voters on something that was supported overwhelmingly. The polls showed before the election over 70% of Californians supported this move to undo the damage done by what she did when she was state attorney general. And now the actual vote turns out to be very much in line with that. It's overwhelming. And here's how I would put it. If you look at that result and a bunch of other ones here in California, it seems to me that the tide is turning in California. You have the yes vote on Proposition 36. You have an overwhelming defeat for George Gascon, the pro-crime, far-left, Soros-backed district attorney right here in Los Angeles. You also have, less high profile but incredibly important, in Oakland. Really the place in California which has really become the most dystopian in terms of the collapse of order on the streets. There's a recall there. They kicked out the DA there. They kicked out the mayor in Oakland. And then you go beyond that. You look at the overall vote for President Trump. It seems to me, if I'm just looking at the data now, but the largest shift towards Republicans of any state was in California.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's lots of reasons to be optimistic that we can turn things around here.
And Prop 33, which I think was a no on expanding rent control, right? So
Yes.
a lot of sort of policy business issues that people are voting on.
And the minimum wage.
Yes, well said. You know, Steve, when I think about California, I think about Elon Musk, who has somehow defied the odds, you know, out in a similar neck of your woods of Fremont. And what's so fascinating to me is he basically created an entire EV industry. He's thinking about sending people to Mars. And in between that, he came up with a little side pet project, which was flipping Pennsylvania. This guy is brilliant. Is he responsible for Pennsylvania?
Well, and don't forget saving free speech through buying X. I think that his effort there is actually has been decisive. I mean, it's very clear because the margin there, I think, was far higher. Everyone said it was going to be close, and everyone was going on about how fantastic the Democrats' turnout machine was. Well, it turned out that the Trump campaign, through people like Elon Musk, we should also remember Charlie Kirk and his organization, Turning Point. They played a huge part in this. It was better. But here's the thing I would say. I think that just the presence of Elon Musk at Donald Trump's side, the fact that you've got this absolutely extraordinary example of American ingenuity and entrepreneurialism fighting side by side with Donald Trump, and then you add to that people like Joe Rogan and so on, I think it really contributed to the decisiveness of this victory because it just conveyed to Americans, this is the side you want to be on. These are the positive people. These are the people who want to get good things done for the country, not just constantly complaining like the other side.
Steve, we're sorry to cut you short, but we've got some breaking news.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the people that actually, like, you know, want to make things normal again. That's kind of the way I look at it. All right, let's move on to the videos. Let's see. Kevin O'Leary and Anthony Pompliano debate Bitcoin and stocks. This is going to be interesting. 3 days ago, I don't know if you guys saw this. I guess this was on the news, but I want to see it. I have not seen it. This is when I was literally deathly ill in bed. So let's do it.
Plus, investors positioning themselves for the new president. The Dow and S&P hitting all-time highs. Bitcoin topping 75K. The dollar and treasury yields spiking. Taylor, this is your stuff. Walk us through it.
I know. So this kind of feels like 2016 2.0 again, right? Take a look quickly at these equity markets, particularly the Russell 2000 at the bottom of the screen. Huge sort of re-inflationary, pro-growth, low taxes, low regulation, equity rally kind of day. Similar story when it comes to the bond market. Yields jumping across the board. That is price lower, yield higher. Really on that sort of re-inflationary trade that we have been talking about. Dollar massive strength as well, sort of keeping up with higher yields. Bitcoin is the story, you guys. It doesn't close. So last night, I think around 2 a.m., I was scrolling through the Bitcoin feed and we topped 75,000. Remember, the key number was 73,700. That was the record we had in March. Blowing through that, again, more records for Bitcoin today. DJT is another story. Now, unfortunately, I do not come with any fundamental news, except that you now have maybe that president-elect who's also a 57% shareholder of DJT. It is up 6%. And so as the, DJT goes, so too does the net worth of Donald Trump. That's where we're going next with Kevin O'Leary, O'Leary Ventures Chairman, and Anthony Pompliano, Professional Capital Management Founder and CEO. Great to have both of you here on set today on such a big day. Kevin, I want to start with you. I sort of walked through the classic Trump trade 2.0. As an investor, how do you think about days like today and a future president?
Most of the moves you're seeing, including in Bitcoin, is around lifting of the regulatory weight that's been put on in the previous administration. About $1 trillion be pulled out of this. And so this will be very good for every sector, including energy. We just detailed that. But crypto specifically, it started to happen just before 1 o'clock in the morning. It trades 24/7. It's an index for a regulated environment for financial services in the U.S., which will bring in a huge amount of institutional capital here. Pomp and I have been involved in this sector for years and years. Before he even gets into it, I was against Bitcoin years ago, and the first debate I ever had was with him on it. I've reversed my position, obviously, and for a good reason. But what this means, and let me give you some of the rumor mill going on this morning. The CFTC is going to take a bigger role in regulating all tokenization and digital payment systems. They're looking for a new master of disaster there, if you want to call it that, someone to take on the role of that. It won't be so much SEC focused. And so we're very excited about that in the crypto industry. But for me, it's digital payment systems. What a great place to invest. So I have put money to work in Circle. USDC and other infrastructure investments. It's fantastic.
It's interesting because I was watching Bitcoin last night. I was watching the betting markets as well. When Trump got to 90%, it was just
everybody's up in the middle of the night
11.
checking
No, this was
Bitcoin
just before 11 o'clock.
2 a.m.
Anthony, I said
Look how much bigger Anthony Pompliano is than this lady right here.
to myself, you know what? Sleep is more important than waiting for him to win. I'll find out in the morning. But ultimately, we're looking at an equity market right now that is going gangbusters on this notion, maybe regulation for crypto, Kevin, but not for a lot of other industries. Pull back on regulation, lower corporate taxes. Donald Trump is seen as a pro-business president who's going to bring CEOs into the fold who are going to help him manage as well. And you've got a Dow, Taylor, to your dismay, that I'm speaking about the Dow, that's up 1,400 points right now.
Yeah, I think, first of all, you got to remember, you're putting a pro-business, pro-investor, pro-capitalism candidate in the White House. That's good for business, that's good for investors. So I think that they're getting long, but more importantly is there's a vibe shift. And so not only are they getting long, they're also getting loud. And you can feel people saying, hey, wait a second, I was a little uncertain going into the election what was going to happen. Now that it's such a decisive victory, he's going to go into the White House. I need to be fully exposed to this market. We're going much higher. You're doing that at the same time you've got the Fed cutting interest rates and M2 money supply growing. And so I think that that'll be very good for risk assets in general. Another area that people are not talking about yet, which I think plays into some of the deregulation, is Trump has run on a deregulation in the energy sector. And so one of the areas that I'm really paying attention to is the intersection of these new technologies, AI, crypto, et cetera, with these kind of more modern energy infrastructure companies. So there's a company in Canada, Hut 8, that I'm an advisor with. They're an energy infrastructure provider to the new industries. And so you get kind of deregulation on energy, but then you get these new energy consumers. And so anywhere where you can find the modern industries intersecting with these kind of more traditional businesses, I think you're going to see a huge kind of capital flow because people realize that they want some of the new riskier stuff, but they also still want the fundamentals of a business with hard assets, et cetera.
All right, so let me talk and kind of marry this together because we just got the news on Michigan, okay, and it was breaking toward Trump. We've now confirmed it's in his category. That's a big deal that Trump wins Michigan. Heart of the auto industry, heart of the union fights this year. Kevin, what does that tell you?
So the unions endorsed Harris. However, the membership voted for Trump is what happened. Because even though he doesn't want to mandate electric cars, this is good for just the industry as it stands because now they'll allow people to make choice between combustion and electric. And it won't put so much pressure for these for car companies like Ford, which is just, that stock has been dead in the water for years as a result of losing so much money on electric cars. Now they can say, wait, we'll build what people want because Trump wants competition in the market. We love that. This Hut 8 company I'm well aware of, and it's an interesting thing he brought up because Pomp is right. The challenge we have now is we need power for the Hut 8s of the world. They provide the data centers we don't have any power for, and now with Trump, we'll get the power. It's not just drill, baby, drill on oil. It's gas, baby, gas, because we can get the turbines to turn it into electricity.
I think we're getting too much agreement between these two right now.
No, he's a very bad guy. He's a very bad guy. He's a very bad guy.
Can I just say this? I think actually pulling off regulation and subsidies from the green space is going to spur innovation in that space. We'll get more of it under Trump because he's a lighter touch guy.
I do want to talk about that green space. Both of you gentlemen speak in ROI, return on investment. Elon Musk, you know, smart billionaire entrepreneur, invests what, $150 million in Pennsylvania? Up today, $15 billion in net worth because of Tesla.
Right.
If that isn't a great ROI, I don't know what is. How do you think, though, about Tesla, Elon Musk, EV, a future at the White House? You know, all of those things as market participants, Tesla shareholders are sort of ruminating with today.
The genius of Elon Musk is not going out saying that he's a green entrepreneur. He's not going out saying he's doing social impact. He's simply saying, I'm going to build a better product or service and I'm going to come deliver it to you at a cheaper cost. And therefore the market adopts it. And so that's why most electric vehicles failed before. He showed up and said, I got a cool one that's affordable, that works. And so if you think about what the American people have done is they have handed a decisive victory and really a mandate to Donald Trump to go to the White House, bring inflation down, make housing more affordable, secure the border, don't engage in more wars, and make me have some sort of economic opportunity that I don't feel like I have right now. Now, the reason why that's really important is because people like Elon Musk provide those services. It's a deflationary type technology. It's going to help bring down costs. It's going to put this in the hands of people. And so artificial intelligence being another area that people are saying, hey, is this real? Is this not real? There's money going into the stocks. But what about for me individually? If all of a sudden artificial intelligence does fulfill the promise, which I think it will unlock a lot of time for the average person, both productivity at work, but also in their personal lives. And so when that occurs, now you have people who have time, they have tools, and you have the economy in a place where it's stronger. That is going to be a massive production gain for America. And I think that we're on the precipice of this economic explosion under a Trump presidency.
Before, Anthony, you mentioned energy, and I think it's really important to think about how the voters spoke yesterday. They spoke out on behalf of their interests. Kevin, 70% of those in our voter analysis said economy was their #1 issue. Input costs are impacted by oil prices. In Pennsylvania, where we saw the massive swing that basically, pushed Donald Trump forward. Ultimately, people spoke on the issue of fracking. I was there yesterday. It matters to them. It's a huge part of their economy. So you're not seeing a huge move in the oil price today, but he's massively going to open things up and get it going.
We're on the cusp of an energy crisis in America, specifically on electricity. If you go to any power authority, I don't care if it's West Virginia, or North Dakota, South Dakota, and ask them for 100 megawatts of just power, they can't give it to you. So what Trump is doing here is going to be lowering the input costs for all 11 sectors of the economy by getting the power down, not just oil or gasoline. It's also electricity we need. And so when I look at opportunity for investors, and one of the reasons I'm getting on an aircraft tonight and flying to Riyadh and Abu Dhabi and Geneva, we now have a pro-power sector. And so we have to build power generation. That's billions of dollars, and I'm the man to do that. I'm hot to trot. I'm getting on the plane.
Hot to trot.
All right.
I like it.
A last one for you guys. Let's see if you disagree or not on this one. Trump in, I think that might mean Lena Khan at the FTC is out. Should she be out, Anthony?
I think that entrepreneurism in America is the driving force. We have seen entrepreneurs build this country forever, and the less that the government is involved in having their hand in that, the better. And so, yes, there are people who are concerned about monopolies, et cetera. But the fact that you can't point to a single business in America that doesn't have competition. And so whenever you see that, you can say you may not like how much competition they have, but there is still competition. And we can sit and we can complain about all kinds of different products, services, companies, et cetera.
Right.
But America was built on competition. Stop complaining and start competing. And I think that's really where we've got to get.
You with them on that one?
Regarding her specifically, I say innovation, not regulation. And so I'd like to thank her for her service and get her a new exciting job somewhere else.
Okay, I think we can end on that one. I like that.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary.
Wow, that was some words of wisdom from Kevin O'Leary. Interesting. All right, well, gold pushed Bitcoin to $1 million 2 days ago. Let's see what Anthony Pomp has to say over here on his podcast.
You always look at something that's up 50,000% or whatever it is and say, oh yeah, it's huge now, I can't get in. But then you look at when it goes up another 20,000% and you say, oh, it was actually small back then, but now it's huge, and then it goes up again. So when you look at assets that are shielded against inflation and governments and centralization, Bitcoin's actually still pretty small, which is funny. And we've been calling for 100K Bitcoin. We'll probably see 1 million Bitcoin at some point in my life, especially with inflation. So I really do think both assets can rise simultaneously.
You mentioned that gold is the global safe haven trade. Explain kind of how you guys think about gold right now.
So this is something else. So we got ahead of this gold rally and over the last few months, kind of just started saying, well, this is interesting. You have a market where gold doesn't necessarily perform.
You want the link to that video, Mr. Crypto Frank? Is that what you're saying in the chat? Sorry, I didn't mean to pause it on you guys.
That well as it's been, but it's been incredibly hot.
I'll put it in the chat.
And not only that, over the last 2 months or month and a half, bonds have crashed. The 10-year note yield is at 4.3%. And gold is still now at 2,800, pushing even higher. People are calling for 3,000. We could definitely see it. It's interesting. You have this massive divergence between gold and bonds. So if you ask any person that's been in the market for the last 20 years or 30 years, it was always, in times of uncertainty, people buy gold, they buy bonds. That's it, simple. And maybe utilities.
Just so you guys know, typically every video that I watch, in the description below, I put all the links for the most part. I mean, if we pick something up during the stream, then it's a little different. But yeah, I usually put all the links in there.
Now, no one wants to buy bonds because they don't know what the Fed's going to do. For all we know, we could have rate hikes coming back. I mean, we had 50 basis point rate cuts priced in a month ago. Now there's the odds of no cuts are being priced in. It's like no one wants exposure to that kind of volatility. So they're selling bonds. And then you have geopolitical tensions everywhere. You have inflation. You have a lot of uncertainty. And then you have central banks buying thousands of tons of physical gold while calling for a soft landing. So it's like this whole storm. It's like everybody is stocking up on gold, including the banks that themselves say we're not going into a recession. And it's rising with every reason to fall. Even the US dollar, by the way, the US dollar index, the DXY, is up like 5% over the last 2 months or so. And gold is still rising. It's insane. If you put a chart with gold, bonds, and the dollar, it's like gold just said, you know what, have a good day. I'm going my own path. Like it's crazy. So that it's clear that people are flowing into gold, and investment continues to flow into there regardless of what's happening. And it really is the safe haven trade. And I think there's so much demand for the shiny metal that at this point it's not. Do
you think it's a psychological change? Like people have psychologically said, hey, bonds are not safe anymore. I need gold.
It could.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crypto Frank, for the 1999 super chat, dude. You're awesome. Perfect. I appreciate that very much. He said, coffee on me. Thanks again, dude. No worries. Anytime.
And I also think with rates, now that they even did a 50 basis point rate cut, now you're getting 50 basis points less on treasury bonds and treasury bills, and all even high yield savings accounts are paying less. So now that gap between gold that's a zero yielding asset and a bond that's obviously not zero yielding is narrowing. So that's even proliferating it a little bit more. And I do think it is, people are saying, you know what, let's stick to the basics right now. Let's get back into the things that have more certainty and are less correlated with government, less correlated with one specific currency, more as a global currency. And gold is at the top of that list. What else is at the top of that list? Bitcoin. Gold and Bitcoin are not substitutes. They can both rise together, and we've seen that happen.
Do you look at it as they're going to directionally trade together, gold and Bitcoin?
I think so. I think they'll I think Bitcoin differs from gold a little bit in that it is more correlated to risk appetite, whereas gold is a little bit more inversely correlated. And that we've seen Bitcoin actually perform well in a market where the S&P is rising, where risky assets are rising. A lot of it because Bitcoin is a risky asset. but I also think that you're compensated for that risk. I mean, look at the returns in Bitcoin compared to gold. It's not even doesn't even make a dent in the chart if you put them together. But at the same time, they both have that aspect of being sheltered from government, sheltered from one specific currency. They're inflationary hedges. They're finite in a way, I guess. The interesting is gold has a market cap that's 20 times that of Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is so big but so small at the same exact time right now. And
do you think those converge, those two market caps?
I absolutely think they gap closes, and I think most people don't realize that. You always look at something that's up like 50,000% or whatever it is and say, oh yeah, it's huge now, I can't get in. But then you look at when it goes up another 20,000% and you say, oh, it was actually small back then, but now it's huge, and then it goes up again. So huge and small is relative. And I think gold on a when you look at assets that are shielded against inflation and governments and centralization, Bitcoin's actually still pretty small, which is funny. And we've been calling for 100K Bitcoin. We'll probably see 1 million Bitcoin at some point in my life, especially with inflation. So I really do think both assets can rise simultaneously.
So when I first started looking at Bitcoin and gold, I think I had two different things, and one of them I changed my mind on. One was gold and Bitcoin would have this flippening. Gold's market cap would expand over, Bitcoin's market cap would expand over gold's. My thought process was gold would be demonetized, and so you'd see that market cap shrink. Bitcoins would continue to expand, and you would get some cross. I think at the time gold was like $10-11 trillion, and Bitcoin was like 600 billion, 700 billion. I've changed my mind now because the data basically says no, hold on a second. Gold's going to keep going up, just Bitcoin's going to go up faster, right? And so they probably do cross.
Real quick, gold's at an $18 trillion market cap as of right now.
At some point, but it may take longer. It's going to be at a much higher level, and so gold investors are going to do just as well as I think they thought that they're going to do. But the second thing that I find very interesting is that there seems to be a demographic difference in terms of most young people I talk to, they don't own gold and they're buying Bitcoin. Most of the older guys that I talk to, they own a lot of gold and they're starting to kind of dip their toe with the Bitcoin. But the institutions are all run by older guys, right?
Yeah.
It feels like that changes over the next 20, 30 years, obviously, right? And so how do you look at the relationship between these two assets, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Do you think people still try to hold both? Or is there capital that would go into gold historically, but will kind of get siphoned off into Bitcoin?
You know, what's funny on a side note is every time I go on Charles Payne's show on Fox, I'm like the only person there that's young and bullish of gold. And he's always like, yeah, the youngest gold bull of all time.
Real quick, I just wanted to pull this over. So, fucking ad, dude, what the hell? Get out of here. All right, gold. Well, it's at a $17.85 trillion market cap. We get NVIDIA right after that. These are the top assets by market cap. NVIDIA 3.62. We have Apple at a 3.4 trillion. Microsoft at a 3.1. Google at a 2.1, which is owns YouTube. Amazon 2.1. Saudi over here 1.8 trillion. Silver's at a 1.7, and Bitcoin is now at a 1.6. It's gonna flip silver this year for sure. Crazy. I still am I'm still bullish on precious metals as a whole. I will always diversify into precious metals, but crypto is definitely got the biggest upside potential, just in my opinion.
He's always making fun of me. I'm like, but I love Charles. He's great. But I think it's interesting. Definitely institutional investors are probably, retail is a lot less likely to go buy gold. Like some guy buying Bitcoin in his Robinhood account or whatever is going to be more prone to buying a risky asset or something like crypto or Ethereum or you name it than just going.
So I would personally, I wouldn't buy stocks of gold and silver. I would just physically want to own that gold or silver, right?
To buy a spot gold ETF. At the same time, I think that can change, like you said, especially as the young people start getting into the institutional side of things. And also, the other thing that's changing is regulation. I think we've, like 5 years ago, everything was pointing towards the government striking down Bitcoin. Now it's actually become a part of the campaign trail. Like candidates are speaking at Bitcoin conferences and criticizing people who are not accepting the technology and the change that it's bringing. So I think attitude, and generally speaking, is changing. And I even think the older investors are starting to view it. And what drives an institutional investor more than anything, it doesn't matter if it's purple, green, gold, you name it, it's returns. If something has good returns, as a money manager, you can't ignore it. That's the reality. And I think, like you said, I mean, gold itself is not going to be some crazy performing asset that makes thousands of percent every 5 years. In my view, it might not even outperform the S&P 500. I think it will keep rising, but I think Bitcoin is going to significantly outperform gold, and it has, and it will continue to do so, especially as we break out higher and more capital flows into it. And as we go into more economic uncertainty, times with maybe more global inflation, that's even better for Bitcoin.
And do you think that eventually central banks hold Bitcoin as well? You mentioned that they're really buying gold aggressively right now. Do you think that that's kind of the end game here?
Maybe eventually. I think that we're still far away from that, though. I mean, that would be like the ultimate, that's like the strategic Bitcoin reserve too. Like those kind of things are, they would be great to see, but I still think we have some time.
Is that how we get the $1 million Bitcoin price?
I think that would be a big factor. I think also, just generally speaking, I mean, $1 million Bitcoin, let's just talk about USD too, right? Bitcoin to USD will naturally keep, even if Bitcoin never went up, it will naturally keep rising just because the USD is going to always keep falling. A dollar from 100 years ago is worth like what, 5 cents or something. So just that alone will keep pushing things higher. But I think it's going to go from both ends of the spectrum. You're going to see higher demand, higher prices, not just because of inflation, but because more people want to own the asset.
Interesting. Buffett said shiny rock is a lose. I mean, yes and no. It's going to continuously go up just because people always, in the history of humans, have flocked towards gold, right? So it's not going to go anywhere. I'll just put it that way. I don't think the value of it's not going to go down ever. All right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say ever, right? It could go up and down just like anything else, but I highly doubt it's going to lose much of its value, just as a whole. All right, altcoins are about to explode. This is a day ago over on Altcoin Daily. Let's see what Mr. Charles Hodgkinson has to say. This is the founder of Cardano. Let's do it.
As many of you know, I have personal friendships with certain lawmakers and certain people who are now members of the Trump administration.
Breaking news, altcoins gearing up for a very explosive 2025 as
Real quick, I'm sorry, I got to pull up my task manager. All right.
Cardano founder reveals he will be working directly with the Donald Trump administration and others in Washington, D.C. for new, better crypto policy in 2025 and beyond.
I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time working with lawmakers in Washington, D.C., and quite a bit of time working with members of the administration to help foster and facilitate with other key leaders in industry the crypto policy. We have to do this and we have to get it done.
Could this be the crypto advisory council Trump said he was going to put together in his first 100 days?
Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council. Their task will be to design transparent regulatory guidance for the benefit of the entire industry, and they will get it done in 100 days.
I shared this video with my friends who follow stuff like this. It seems very likely that we are about to enter a whole new era for cryptocurrency. Listen to this.
There's a very high probability that the Republicans will control not only the Senate and the presidency, but also the Congress, the House. And in the process of doing so, this is the best opportunity we have ever had in the history of the industry to get clarity for our industry and remove the sort of Damocles that the SEC has reigned over the Cardano ecosystem, Ripple ecosystem, the Ethereum ecosystem,
He's right.
reigned over Solana, reigned over all the major ecosystems, and actually including Bitcoin in many respects, despite the ETF approvals.
Look.
Ooh, him mentioning Solana just reminded me of something. If you guys have any issues with Solana going from like A to B, right? I sent some from my Phantom wallet to Tangem the other day, and it took like hours. I don't know what the hell was going on. Something's going on with like the back end of Solana somewhere. So if you guys like send Solana and it seems to be missing and you're like freaking out, please just wait and it'll eventually show up. I know some people that have had to wait 2 days, so just keep that in mind. Just wanted to let you guys know.
It's great. BlackRock and Wall Street are getting into crypto.
Oh, real quick, Dan R said, you see this crap? Gold shell increasing the price of the EDG1M from $22.09 to $25.24 due to the demand. Dude, Gold Shell's, I am so disappointed in that company.
Fink and his friends are literally going to bring trillions of dollars of capital into this industry, but we need pro-crypto policy written by crypto natives.
None of us signed up to have companies like BlackRock dictate to the United States what the crypto policy should be. The crypto policy should be written by the American people, the American crypto industry, and by well-meaning lawmakers who are willing to take the time to listen. So we will establish at Input Output a policy office, and we're going to begin staffing that office, moving some personnel around, and hopefully by January we can begin to participate in that process and work with certain key leaders in certain key positions and get to a point where we can hybridize many of the proposals, including FIT 21, including the Lummis bill, the FIA, and other such things, so that we can get a bipartisan bill passed that will give us absolute clarity of when things are securities and commodities.
Dude, you guys want to know when my computer's glitching? Look at my CPU. 100% usage. Something's going on in the background and I can't find it. Oh no, getting hacked, motherfuckers.
Help us navigate the oft tumultuous and chaotic waters
going on,
of DeFi and get us to a point where we can get back to business. So that's what we're going to focus on in 2025. We're going to get our growth and adoption where it needs to be. And we're going to make sure that we have solid policy so that we can move forward as a nation. As many of you know, I have personal friendships with certain lawmakers and certain people who are now members of the Trump administration. We hopefully will be able to have great dialogues with them in the coming months to put together some of this policy.
In other news, Wall Street is really promoting Ethereum. It's like Amazon in the 1990s, they say. See, Wall Street is nice and allocated to Ethereum right now, and they're pumping their bags, and it's working. Breaking news, BlackRock's Spot Ethereum ETF just clocked 60.3 million in inflows. This is the largest
hard drive usage, nothing, just zero. Zero. This is like literally nothing. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's crazy. My CPU, dude, 100% pinged. Utilization. I run nothing on this computer, by the way. This is a straight streaming desktop. I don't do anything on it besides like game and stuff sometimes. But I killed it all. That's so weird. But that's why my camera's glitching. If anybody's noticing, obviously something's going on. I'm shocked the stream hasn't crashed yet.
Largest single-day Ethereum inflows in 94 days.
No, I don't mind
Money is flowing into crypto from all over now. We saw this coming. We showed this to you. Larry Fink has been hinting at his big crypto plans for a while now.
I see value in
Ron, no, I learned my lesson when I was a teenager. You don't do that stuff on your computer.
having an Ethereum ETF. These are just stepping stones towards tokenization. I really do believe this is where we're going to be going. We have the technology to tokenize today. This eliminates all corruption by having a tokenized system.
And we see Ethereum price is following. And if you want to make money in crypto and not miss big rallies like this, you want to be best prepared for this upcoming bull run, make sure you follow us here at Altcoin Daily. It seems like Wall Street is finally letting their cards show. And of course, this is most likely on the heels of Trump's incoming presidency. Even the most staunch, most vocal Democrats who are in crypto, people like Mike Novogratz here, who didn't vote for Trump, even he, of course, admits the obvious, that for the crypto industry in the US, Donald Trump is the best outcome that could have happened. Listen.
I was not a President Trump voter for lots of other reasons, but as a crypto guy, this is almost nirvana.
So what does Donald Trump presidency mean for crypto?
Listen, I think yesterday was probably the most important day for the cryptocurrency industry and for Galaxy as a company in years. And I say that because, we've suffered 4 years of regulatory purgatory, an administration that didn't appreciate our industry and was just starting to understand it some. So there was a thawing out that was happening. But Trump, listen, he went to Bitcoin Nashville, the big Super Bowl of Bitcoin conferences, and he laid down his vision, which was pro-crypto all the way, from not selling the Bitcoin that the government already owns to potentially a strategic reserve. Most importantly, I think we're going to get new heads of the SEC, the FDIC, the OCC, all these regulatory bodies that will allow custodians like State Street and Bank of New York, investment banks, and other banks to hold crypto on their balance sheet. And as all these traditional players come into the market, it's going to bring in a tremendous amount of capital. And so I couldn't be more optimistic, actually. I was not a President Trump voter for lots of other reasons, but as a crypto guy, this is almost nirvana.
So we're really starting to see how Wall Street is positioning now. VanEck's CEO speaks on the altcoin market. He says, 1, Ethereum is a contrarian play right now. 2, this is a good entry point for ETH. And 3, Ethereum will be one of the big winners. Listen to this.
There are other ways to play the crypto space. There's stocks like Coinbase. There are the other coins and tokens and things like Ether. Doge now gets a lot of mention. Would you be an advocate of all of that as well?
Well, what I've said, look, Bitcoin is sort of digital gold to me, and it's a store of value asset. What I've said about Ethereum is don't buy it unless you really understand its business proposition and its competitors, the other databases that might be the rails for crypto. I do think, however, that overall, big picture, stablecoins are the new global payment system. And one of the big winners is going to be Ethereum. Ethereum's market share kind of bottomed in September. We look at stuff like that. And so it's a little bit of a contrarian play. Ethereum has outperformed over the last several weeks. And I think it's a good entry point, actually, for Ethereum, if you understand the pros and cons of it.
So, yeah, I do think Ethereum's price is about to do a little catch-up. $10,000 Ethereum price this cycle is on the table. I don't think it's the most likely outcome. It really depends on if Bitcoin can do big numbers this cycle. Like, if Bitcoin can do what the VanEck CEO and founder thinks that it can do, I think 10,000 Ethereum would then be likely if this happens.
I think Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. It hit them today, and I think it's going further, right? My basic premise.
Jan VanEck is the CEO of VanEck Associates. Jan, it's great to have you. And when you're probably asked as much as I am if Bitcoin's going to 100,000 next, what would you say?
Kelly, happy Friday. I think Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. It hit them today, and I think it's going further, right? My basic premise is that ultimately Bitcoin's value will be half of that of all the gold outstanding. So you're talking about something like $300,000 for Bitcoin.
The global shift that is happening around Bitcoin and crypto is undeniable. The state of Florida is now officially on board with Trump's national Bitcoin stockpile. Florida's CIO says it's a great idea for the U.S. and it's a great idea for Florida.
You think that the government's going to continue to print too much money? You think Bitcoin is a way for Floridians to maintain purchasing power?
Thank you for making those points, because that's exactly where our head is on this. We look at the failed policies of Washington. I hope President Trump is going to be able to turn around, but I don't think it's going to happen overnight. He's walking into a real mess. But we need to be able to have a hedge against this massive overreach by the federal government with a centralized currency. Look, I don't want the federal government knowing when my son went to the grocery store to go buy a bag of Doritos at 2:15 in the afternoon. So we need to have some protections in place, and I think we're making a welcome and interesting expansion of dialogues in Florida, and maybe even a greater expansion. We have about $800 million in crypto-related investments in our state portfolio, but I would not be shocked to be able to see that growing under a Trump administration in the near future.
And you think that en masse in the country, that the U.S. Crypto is just going to become more important in terms of almost a sovereign fund or in pension plans and retirement plans for government employees?
Well, Look, as a fiduciary, I think it's very important. Look, I've got firefighters, I've got teachers, I've got state employees that were trustees over their pension. I need to make sure that we're doing everything humanly possible to get the best return on their investment. And if we're not being open-minded to what crypto can do to diversify that portfolio, shame on us. So again, it's a direction that we're going to start to push. We're going to be prepared to seize the opportunities presented by, just as your show has been speaking to earlier, the change of what the administration can bring in the future financial outlook of our country, our world. And Florida can be prepared to do the most for our fiduciary responsibilities that we take so seriously.
Hey, if you like videos like this, make sure you subscribe to...
All right. Yeah. All right, I gotta close some of these windows. It literally just says Brave browser and Chrome and like the two things pulling it up, but I killed Chrome like 4 times, so it's definitely not that. This computer just needs to be restarted. I never restart it. That's probably half the issue. All right, crypto investing expert, I urge you to act now before it's too late. This is a day ago as well on Altcoin Daily. Let's do it. This is gonna be the last video.
Happy Friday. I think Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. It hit them today, and I think it's going further. Right. My basic premise is that ultimately Bitcoin's value will be half of that of all the gold outstanding. So you're talking about something like $300,000 for Bitcoin.
Investing expert Jan Van Eck, CEO of a company with almost $90 billion in assets under management, has just explained how Bitcoin's price reaches $300,000 per coin.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value, or pick some other random number?
As well as where he sees Ethereum.
What I've said about Ethereum is...
Watch today's whole video. And first, just in 90 seconds or less, understand Jan Van Eck's background.
Sure. I mean, I can give you the short version. Van Eck, the firm, was started by my father in 1955. And our investment philosophy, I think I would describe it as macro. And what I mean by that is looking at big trends in the world, economic, political, and technology-wise, and saying, okay, the world actually affects the financial markets. And what are the big trends? What are the asset classes that are going to develop? So in 1955, my father put together an international equity mutual fund. There were none the year before. There was one other person who started that year, John Templeton. And then probably what my father's best known for is in 1968, he sold almost all those international stocks and bought gold mining shares because he thought gold was going to benefit from the inflationary monetary and fiscal policies of the U.S.
That's crazy. Price of gold. Look at it. Look at that. That's insane. World price index, this red line. Crazy. Dude, Bitcoin's gonna do even greater things. Insane. Yeah, DJ, I'm still alive. I missed 3 days of shit, so I gotta catch up. I was sick last week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was dead. I mean, I woke up Saturday night, but it was a rough stream still.
Government. Now, I like to point out that gold had been fixed against the dollar for the entirety of U.S. history. And
ooh, Chris Fox. That's a good idea. I haven't updated my driver in a while. That could be it, actually. I'm going to do that after this.
And, if you know anything about financial theory, if an asset is flat in price, it has no volatility, it has no risk. It's sort of a weird object to want to buy. But anyway, that bet really worked out in 1971.
So hard.
Gold ended up going to up over $800 an ounce. And so it's that kind of macro thinking that leads to the evolution of asset classes. We participated in the development of the emerging markets, was a big theme for us. The commodity trends of the 2000s, and then crypto.
And this gold versus Bitcoin ETF chart says it all. But actually just speaking about emerging markets.
We participated in the development of the emerging markets, was a big theme for us.
I literally just shared with you this yesterday. I'll share with you a little clip again that today the emerging markets play is Bitcoin.
There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now
greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources.
And while Van Eck and associates made a lot of their money betting on gold back in the day, it does appear Bitcoin is the clear bet today. It took gold's ETF 5 years to break $20 billion in inflows. Bitcoin
Crazy.
did it in 10 months. The most successful ETF.
That's insane. It did it in 10 months to break $20 billion. Crazy.
Launch in history, and Jan Van Eck explains what's next.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value, or pick some other random number?
Well, because maybe I'm more balanced. I think if I were Bitcoin maximalist, I would say it would overtake gold. But I think that's like a reasonable base assumption. It's clear. You know, one of the big winners this year is individual investors have really piled into the Bitcoin ETFs. And I think as individuals, as a constituency, they were important in this election. The loss by Sherrod Brown of his Ohio Senate seat, the fact that Trump went to the Bitcoin convention shows that there's a big constituency in the U.S. and hopefully it becomes a bipartisan issue as well, not so one-sided.
And I think what institutional investors are starting to realize about gold versus Bitcoin, that while gold is good at storing value over time, but not space, and fiat is good at storing value over space, but not time, Bitcoin's good at both. And you may think, Austin, okay, I finally get it, but it looks over. It looks like the gains have already happened. Well, let's not forget ETF expert Matthew Hogan said in our interview with him a few weeks ago.
Before I came to Bitwise 6.5 years ago, I was the CEO of ETF.com. So this is my neck of the woods. The thing that crypto should realize about ETFs is they are multi-year stories. If you look back at the gold ETF, which when it launched was the most successful ETF launch of all time, year 2 had more flows than year 1, year 3 more than year 2, year 4 more than year 3 for 8 straight years. I actually think the same thing is going to happen for Bitcoin ETFs. Yes, this was a record year, the most successful ETF launch of all time. Maybe we'll get $20+ billion of assets into these ETFs in year 1. That's amazing. I bet you year 2 is bigger, and I bet you year 3 is bigger. ETFs are a 5 to 10 year journey to maturity, so we're still really at the earliest stage.
Now, how about altcoins? How about Ethereum from an institutional investor's point of view?
Well, what I've said, Bitcoin is sort of digital gold to me, and it's a store of value asset. What I've said about Ethereum is don't buy it unless you really understand its business proposition and its competitors, the other databases that might be the rails for crypto. I do think, however, that overall, big picture, stablecoins are the new global payment system. And one of the big winners is going to be Ethereum and Coinbase as well. Ethereum's market share kind of bottomed in September. We look at stuff like that. And so it's a little bit of a contrarian play. Ethereum has outperformed over the last several weeks. And I think it's a good entry point, actually, for Ethereum if you understand the pros and cons of it.
But how about the bigger altcoin market? For example, why is SWE pumping?
We want SWE to be the most robust piece of public infrastructure that exists.
Well, the reason you subscribe to Altcoin Daily, the reason we are literally about to surpass 1.5 million subscribers, maybe by the time this video is out, is because we go over the full altcoin market, give you all the information so you can make the best decision for you as an investor. And the reason SWE is pumping today, number 1, there continues to be activity on the network. The SWE network surpasses Ethereum with total transactions. But also 2, this was big news, SWE integrates Scion as the first of its kind security protocol for network validators.
Scion is an amazing technology that effectively gives you stronger guarantees around moving packets along the internet than exists today, way stronger than the TCP/IP stack that we're all using. And it's going to change the internet. And first thing we're doing is we're running SWE on it in testnet, and this year, by the end of the year, we hope to have mainnet SWE running on Scion. Now, what that means is SWE network would run even if you have the routing logic of the internet go down, which we've had multiple times. Severed cables, data center outages, no way to route packets around the internet, things go down. Scion is a much more robust mechanism that is immune to those kind of outages. So while the internet is down, you can still transact on SWE. We want SWE to be the most robust.
And speaking of robustness, in Solana news.
Oh, what else is new at Solana? Somebody pop that video game out and blowing it.
Breaking. Solana having network issues again.
Stick it back in.
The Solana network is temporarily down. Of course, that has never stopped Solana before. And again, in recent...
Solana has... Man, like, I don't understand it. It has a lot of work.
News, Coinbase brings Bitcoin to Solana, spurring high hopes for DeFi surge. So just like Coinbase has a stablecoin, which is a coin pegged to the US dollar, they also have their own Bitcoin on Solana, which is pegged to actual Bitcoin. Coinbase introduces BTC, which brings Bitcoin to the Solana blockchain. The reason people want something like this, and not just have real Bitcoin, the reason they would want a Bitcoin substitute on Solana is to use it in DeFi. Now, this actually could be one of the reasons that Solana has to be restarted again. The reason this happens is because there is so much use on this one network. And in low-cap altcoin news for Primex Finance, as you remember, it is the spot leverage trading and yield farming protocol. So spot leverage trading in a decentralized way. Big rewards coming for Price Pulse users. As you may remember, Price Pulse is a Telegram minigame where totally for free you can bet future prices of crypto. We are thrilled to announce the 15 million PMX tokens that will be allocated to our active Price Pulse community.
Oh, God. Chilling some bullshit. All right. Let's get into the recap segment of things. Hopefully, stream doesn't die. It made it this far. I think we're gonna be all right. Bitcoin, if you guys are just joining, $82,112. Looking amazing. Ethereum over 3,000, 31.59 to be exact. Perfect. We got Solana at $218. God damn, even though it's got crashes galore, it's still kicking ass. Perfect. We got Crow over here up 20% on the day, 14 cents, almost 15 cents. Nice. We get Dogecoin just under 30 cents at 29 cents, up 17% on the day. It was actually up 30% yesterday. It was crazy. Sui, $3.24, up almost 10%. We got Caspa only up almost 1.5% at 15 cents. I'm kind of hoping Caspa goes back down. I took profits at I was buying in like 12, 11, 10 cents, and I was getting nervous for a bit. I ain't gonna lie, because I blew everything, the whole wad on in the 10-cent range. I'm like, you know what, I'm just throwing it all in, and then I just took it back out at the 15 and 16 cent range. So I am hoping it kind of goes back down, and then I can buy back in. That's the plan. But I still hold a shit ton of Caspa. I'm not gonna lie there. But yeah, no, I just wanted to take some profits so I could buy back in, because I have a certain amount I want to hold, and I was like 50k over that certain amount. So that was it was a good time to take some profits. ADA, personally, good time to take some profits. This is my opinion. They've had a lot of green days in a row, but anything can happen. It's crypto. It could keep going up. It might pull back a little bit, but I think we're probably going to see a pullback towards the end of the month. That's just my opinion. You guys do what you want. Don't take financial advice from people on YouTube. XRP's at 58 cents right now. If anybody cares about that, we got LTC over here at 76.80. Let's see, ETC's at 22.70, looking pretty good. We have STX over here up 10% today to $2. Render is up 10%, almost 11% to $6.19. Nice. Rune is up actually 6% to $6.32. Looking pretty decent on like everything. Everything's looking amazing. All right, crypto bubbles. What we got? Man, look how slow my computer's moving. It's so slow. Oh, it's terrible today. I'm gonna fix this for tomorrow. Crow is the biggest earner of the day, up 19%, almost 20%. Insane. Looking really good. Again, almost 15 cents. ENA over here is Athena, 65 cents, up 17.9. We have Dogecoin up 17.8 to 29 cents. Biggest loser of the day seems to be Nero, 9.2% down on the day, 2/2 of a penny. Yeah, that's it. Nothing really jumping out at me, but flashbang, here we go. Fear and Greed Index at a 76. Let me just refresh. It's gonna take an hour. There we go. We got Extreme Greed over here. We're over the 75 mark. You guys know that's when I start thinking to take profits, when this needle is above 75. But in the bull run, this shit can peak in here for a month. Is what it is. Just be careful. Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on everything going up. Like anything that's like, in my opinion, what I do is 20% or more up. I'll take some off the table just because it seems to be a good idea, at least in my opinion. Mr. DJ Death Star, dude, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Crow making moves. Perfect. Had an AMA this past weekend. We'll send you the link, dude. Thank you very much. I appreciate the $5 super chat. You're awesome. Guys, that's gonna do it though. My camera's glitching hard. Look at this. Look at my CPU is at 100% right now. I have no idea why. But anyways, you guys have a safe and happy Veterans Day. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, right around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, enjoy your day and peace out.
She don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her.
Perfect.
Eat shit, Gary.